New Zealand is 7th on the Paralympic medal table after a day in which Liam Malone, who we spoke to earlier, broke the record held by Oscar Pistorius to win gold in the 200 metres. And the extraordinary run in the pool continued, with Cameron Leslie, Sophie Pasco winning gold and Nikita Houth winning a bronze. For Sophie Pasco, that's gold number 9. Now, after the races, the media is given a number to call. You phone it, get Lynette Grace, and she passes the phone around to the team members who are there. It's rather lovely and informal. We begin with Sophie Pasco, the most successful Paralympian in New Zealand history.
Yeah, it hasn't quite sunk in yet, and I actually only found out that fact today after my race. So, look, John, all I do is I go out and I do what I love. I want to challenge myself every single day to be able to challenge myself against the rest of the world, and I've been able to do that. And tonight I made it happen, and it's been a great game so far, but I've still got one more race to go.
You challenge yourself, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that's what you do, because as we discussed yesterday, you won that race by 6 seconds. You're effectively swimming alone. But yesterday you beat the world record, today you beat the Paralympic record, so you're actually just setting targets higher than anyone else in the business, in the pool in your races.
Absolutely, that's what I have to do. It's I've set myself pretty high standards, and obviously those high standards have been set with world record time. So obviously I'm always trying to be better than that. And, doing a personal best is a world record time for me, fortunately enough, in that event tonight in the 100 fly. Didn't quite make it with 0.5 out of it, but hey, I left everything I possibly could in the pool, and that's all I can give to every single race. I've got to also remember that I was taking on a challenge within a challenge, with taking on 5 events in 5 days. So tonight I've just raced my 8th race in 4 days. It is tough, but to take on one more challenge, which is the last one tomorrow, is really exciting, and it's going to be a tough race as well.
How are you feeling now? I mean, obviously it's late there, but have you got what it takes for tomorrow, do you think?
Absolutely. This is what I've trained for 4 years, and especially in this particular last year. We knew that we were going to be taking on the biggest challenge possible with these 5 events in 5 days for 10 races. And, I'm making sure there's definitely enough for one more. Don't get me wrong, my body is definitely shattered after a busy 4 days. But, look, there's always enough room for more. It's like there's always enough room for dessert.
That's a very fine adage, that one. Sophie Pasco, 9 gold medals, 3 at this Olympics, world records, personal bests. In her case, they are often the same thing, and still another race to go. Then, of course, there was Mary Fisher. Now, Lynette gave us to Mary. For people listening who don't know Mary, she finished outside the medals today, but she won gold and set a new world record in the backstroke. And, I asked her how she was going.
It's really good. I mean, I've had this race tonight where I went in ranked 3rd and I came out 6th, and that was a bit gutting for a few minutes. And then I ended up in the warm-down pool and just thought, how incredible is it to be here after kind of 15 years of competitive swimming, and for that first race, which is the one that I knew I had the best chance in and had probably best prepared for that to have gone 110% right. So it's been really good so far, and I've got a couple of days rest now. I'm going to watch the other Kiwis. Got to go down the pool tomorrow for the other swimmers, and then 2 more races at the end of the program. So yeah, it's definitely been a mixed bag. But man, that first day was just incredible, and the atmosphere,
Yeah, your smile at the end of the race, and then again during the medal ceremony. That's worth boxing. That one. You just felt elated, didn't you?
Yeah, I remember the medal ceremony in London when I picked up a gold and broke world record, and it was kind of a total blur. I don't remember it all, but for it to happen a second time. There were several points between London and Rio where I really wasn't sure I wanted to keep swimming, and there's all these other things happening around the world which you're like, oh, what can sport do to help out? But then you get into the village, and the coverage back home is so great. So, yeah,
Mary, I know
it's all worth it.
I know you think deeply about things, and you're studying psychology, right? And you are really engaged with the world and how it works and what's good and bad about it. But you ask how sport can help out. Surely you can inspire people, can't you? I mean, what's your vision like? Your vision is so limited that you must understand you are an absolute inspiration for people who are not only like you, but have other things in their life to overcome, and people who simply want someone to look up to. A hero, really.
Yeah, the messages and support from back home, and actually, now that we've got internet linking up people globally, especially people in the blindness and low vision community, I think, making contact and realising that even though they've got tough circumstances in their own lives, that you can really, if you want to do something with the right kind of team around and attitude, you can do it. And sometimes a different way than a sighted person, but it's possible. And getting back from World Champs last year, one of the cutest things ever was a 6-year-old who's totally blind and lives in Auckland. She wrote me a note in Braille saying, I want to be like you, kind of thing, and her and her family are so proud of the New Zealand team's achievement. So it is really neat.
Yes, it really is very neat. So that's Mary Fisher. Gold in the backstroke. A bit disappointed today with finishing outside the medals. Boy, the bar is set very high for our Paralympians. 2 more races to go for Mary. Next, Lynette gave us to Cameron Leslie, who just come in from winning the gold in the 150 individual medley to defend the gold he won in London, which defended the gold he won in Beijing. And I asked Cameron, how are you? How was it?
It was hugely satisfying, It's something that we've been working towards for a long time, is that the time I went, the 2:23. And I think for me, just to put it all together on race day is just hugely satisfying, because you can do a time in training, but it's a whole other thing to do it in a racing situation, and especially when you've got a whole crowd watching, a whole country behind you, and it's a different type of pressure that you've got to perform under.
Yeah, I also think it's the pressure of repeating yourself. I mean, you've done this in 2008, 2012 and 2016. Keeping on requires a tenacity and a singularity that must sometimes become exhausting, does it?
Yeah, certainly a lot has changed. You go from being the hunter to being the hunted. And, certainly in that time there's been a lot of competition come around me, and the China bloke who came second tonight, I wasn't expecting him to be as close as he was. But, I mean, to be honest, I didn't have a clue he was there. So it's like you say, that keeping on, all I was focusing on was racing my race and just doing the little things right that I can do, and doing the things that I do well, making sure I do them really well.
Yeah, you sure did, Cameron, for the 3rd Olympics running. We've just been speaking to Mary, as you know, and before Mary we were speaking to Sophie. All of you have won golds. All of you won golds in London, and, you and Sophie go back to Beijing. Why is New Zealand so very, very good in the pool?
I think we've got a real good bunch of people coming through, and I think a lot of that's to do with the work Paralympics New Zealand has done in finding these young kids and making sure that they've got the opportunities and put in front of them to excel. I mean, we've got a really good swim program going on at the moment where we're constantly expected to perform and constantly pushed. And I think that's a really healthy environment for us to be in as athletes. Of course, you've got different factors to come into that, with like team dynamics and learning to work together as a team. But in terms of our performance, you can't really question it too much, because we've done bloody well.
Bloody well. Cameron Leslie and doing 3 gold medalists in a row.